Hello vinyl collectors. Today I'd like to show another group from my collection, and that group will be the Talking Heads. Talking Heads formed in 1975, and I think they disbanded around 1991. They were elected into the Hall of Fame in 2002, I think it is, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Of course, original members of the Talking Heads were David Byrne, Chris Frantz, Tina Weymouth, and Jerry Harrison, who actually came from another group called the Modern Lovers. David, Chris, and Tina met while going to an art school in Rhode Island, and then they moved together to New York, where they formed their band. And just about the time that they released their first singles, when Jerry Harrison joined them. So their first album, Talking Heads 77, released in 1977 and finished 97 on the charts. Second album, More Songs About Buildings and Food. It's released in 1978 and finished 29 on the charts. Take Me to the River was the big hit off that one. Third album, Fear of Music. Released in 1979, finished 21 on the charts. I can remember showing this album to a friend of mine back in 1979 when I bought it. He was unfamiliar with the Talking Heads or any of the new wave bands. When I showed him the album cover, his response was, "Wow, the boys really went all the way out on that album, didn't they?" Next album, Remain in Light, 1980. And I think Once in a Lifetime is about the only song on this one that I heard off the radio. And that was number 19 on the charts. Next album, Speaking in Tongues. And that one reached number 15 on the charts, released in May of 1983. Next one, Little Creatures. This was released in June 1985 and was number 20 on the charts. And She Was is the song there that I can remember on the radio, and also Road to Nowhere. Talking Heads, True Stories. This one, released in 1986, finished 28 on the charts. There's a sort of a note in there from David Byrne. It is where he's basically saying that this True Story album is not to be confused with the soundtrack. There's different songs. This is the True Story soundtrack. Album, Negative, came out in 1988, finished 19 on the charts. I have a promotional album Don't know if it was released commercially or not. This is Talking Heads Live. This is not to be released. I believe it's just promotional item only. And some of the tracks on here: Big Country, Artists Only, The Good Thing. There's also Take Me to the River, Psycho Killer, Found a Job. Found this at a flea market a few years back. The live album, Stop Making Sense. This was released in 1984. Stop Making Sense. He also did another live album. The name of the band is the Talking Heads, released in 1982, which I don't have. I've seen it, I never picked it up. I also have this one. This is more a recent release of a live concert. Concert performed in 1982. It's quite good. Most of it, like other big hits, Take Me to the River is on here, Like During Wartime, I Zimbra, a few others, Psycho Killer, of course, Cities. Talking Heads fan, it's worth picking this one up. So, of course, the members of the band also did their own stuff as well. So, Chris Franz and Tina Weymouth, of course, is with the Tom Tom Club, there, along with Tina's sisters and a number of guest artists. This tends to be more club-oriented music. There's a few weird things on this one as well. It's another one, Boom Boom Shaboom Boom. I believe on this one there's one track where David Byrne and also Lou Reed and Jerry Harrison all played together with the Tom Tom Club. I believe Adrian Belew also worked with them a little bit. Jerry Harrison, Red and Black. It was a very good album. Sounds a bit like the Talking Heads. Less club oriented than the Tom Tom Club. As well, for Jerry Harrison, Casual Gods. A lot of reflection, unfortunately. This is a very good album. CD. Also, Walk on Water, Jerry Harrison. This is a very good CD, worth picking up. Of course, after the Talking Heads broke up, the other three artists, that was Chris, Tina, and Jerry, put out an album, No Talking, Just Head. There was a little bit of pushback from David Byrne. I think there was some legal challenges on the name that I think eventually got settled out of court. This album, each track has different lead vocalists. For example, Deborah Harry from Blondie does one of the vocals on here. Of course, David Byrne did his solo stuff, and to be honest, I'm not crazy over some of the stuff David Byrne put out on his own. I have this one where it's with Brian Eno, because Brian Eno collaborated with Talking Heads on, I think, it's their second, third, and fourth albums. And this is David Byrne, Brian Eno LP, and this one is very strange Some of it you could almost say is almost psychedelic. There is sound bites in a lot of the songs taken from various situations, including in one case, I think it's called the Jezebel Spirit, is sound bites taken from an exorcism. In addition to the original four guys, once they started making albums, the soundtrack stopped making sense. There was obviously quite a few other additional musicians in the band at that time. Byrne Worrell, Alex Weir, Steve Scales, and this is a very good DVD, worth picking up if you want to get the it's almost like a greatest hits of the Talking Heads. They play all their hits on this one. It's worth picking up. Good quality video, good quality sound. I mentioned Steve Scales. One little really quick story. Steve Scales plays percussion with the Talking Heads, in this concert, and I think and he does some work, I think, with the Tom Tom Club as well. But I went to a Brian Ferry concert back in around 84, 85, I'm guessing, and I was sitting pretty close to the stage so I can make out all the individuals there. And I look up and I said, geez, that looks like Steve Scales on the percussion. And when it came time to introduce the band members, Brian Ferry indicated that Steve Scales had literally just joined the band 1 hour before they went on stage. He was an emergency replacement or something, and he was flown in, driven to the venue, and literally just walked up on stage and started playing. And I tell you, he was perfect. He didn't miss a beat, that guy. I mean, he obviously had no rehearsals, nothing. I'm sure he had the song set written down on a piece of paper, or he may have just been playing by ear. But that guy did a fantastic job, having just joined the band an hour before they went on stage. Here's just another DVD, Talking Heads Live in Rome. Again, worth picking up if you're a Talking Heads fan. I have a DVD of David Byrne, Union Chapel. Not too much on the cover here. I also had another one by David Byrne. I think it might have been on VHS tape, a concert. But I can't track it down now anyways. It was on tape. It's been thrown out. So that's what I have on the Talking Heads. So once again, thanks very much for watching, and have a great day.